Welcome to another episode of the Jarvis Sam Show. This week, oh man, I'm talking Derrick Jaxn. I know that name has been kind of thrown out there a lot this week with everything that has happened. But I'm just here to give my take on the whole situation and just kind of the ridiculousness of the situation and why it's so ridiculous, right? So I'm just going to dive right in. So Derrick Jaxn is a YouTuber, influencer, public speaker, relationship guru, whatever you want to refer to him as. Essentially, what Derrick Jaxn did was he made a lot of videos that, for lack of a better term, dogged men, made men out to be dogs and just always just talking down on men and men's ways and giving females relationship advice, which is not a bad thing. I think, giving constructive advice to women from a male perspective is fine. But sometimes the way he delivered the messages was not the best and, almost made himself seem like he was like the perfect man. So you would think a guy giving all this advice, because obviously he's got it all figured out, because he can give all this advice. If your man's doing this, if your man's doing that, look out for this, do this, don't do that. He seemed like he just had it all figured out, right? And laying it all out there. He been doing videos for years. I've probably been familiar with him for probably the past 2 or 3 years. I've seen some females on my social media would share his videos and whatnot, and I watched some of them, and some of them I thought were okay, and then some of them I'm like, okay, this is, because here's the thing: when you decide that you want to portray yourself as an expert in a certain field or a certain thing that you do, you kind of have to live up to that thing. You need to truly be expert of it. You can't just be a person that can speak to everything. You've got to be walking it out. Case in point, I'll take myself, for example. I have been in the leadership space where I talk about leadership and give all my views on it. But I've never presented myself as an expert because I don't have leadership figured out. I'm figuring it out and I'm sharing information along the way, right? And most of the information I share comes from my failures as a leader, right? I'm very transparent about times I failed. Do this, don't do that, because I did this and it didn't work out so well. Now, in reality, have I had success as a leader? Of course. I've had quite a few successes, but I've also had some failures, and I've had people that have witnessed the failures, right? So it would be very easy for them to go out and say, hey, I remember when Jarvis worked on this project and it didn't go too well, right? So why not just go ahead and put that out there? Because I also feel like my shortcomings or my leadership that instances that didn't go so well are just as valuable as my successes, if not more valuable, because we learn so much from our failures. But when you put yourself out there as an expert and you never have these moments that you're vulnerable, you set yourself up to be judged when judgment is going to come to you, right? And so anyway, he's this guru, this relationship guru, whatnot, whatever. Been doing videos 5-6 years, whatever. Well, within the past couple of weeks, some things have surfaced that he was not so faithful to his wife in the past year. I don't know. Maybe the pandemic got to him and he did whatever. And here, I am not here to judge a human being, right? If he made a mistake, cool. Like, we're all humans. We make mistakes, right? Even the best of the best are going to make mistakes. The best of the best are going to be tempted. The best of none of us are immune to any of that, right? And so I'm not here to judge him for that. What I am here to do is to call him out for how he responded when these allegations and everything came out. because that's how you really gotta judge somebody. Because if a person lives long enough, something's gonna come up for you to be put in a position to be able to judge them, right? And all you can judge a man on is how a man moves forward, right? And just the way he handled it from the jump was very distasteful, was very arrogant, very narcissistic. He's just like, and just knowing that he did all these videos dogging men. I'll tell you right now, men are already ready to throw you away. We done got you out the paint, man. But you were right making these videos where you're holding men accountable. Well, guess what? Your number has been called, and you got a lot of people holding you accountable right now. Now, he's a married man, the number one person he's accountable to is that wife, right? But let's just dissect how he handled things. So when the allegations first came out, he did a video where he basically said that him and his wife were separated and that he had a non-sexual relationship with some female. I'm 37 years old. I ain't never heard of a non-sexual relationship in my life. Either it was sexual or it wasn't, brother. And all this relationship guru stuff you had going on all this time, and now you come with this erroneous bull crap, non-sex, like, come on, man. So that was kind of, again, he's very good at holding other men accountable, calling out other men on things that men might be doing. But now, when the tables are turned and it's your turn to be held accountable, now I'm making up terms and it wasn't sexual, but it was. But I'm nah, man, nah. Address the people, address the people. So, and let me just say this: in most instances, I would say that a man needs to address, and obviously, yes, he needs to address that with his wife. Like that's between them. But also, with these allegations, and you have presented yourself as a relationship expert, a relationship guru, you do speaking engagements, you do YouTube videos, you've made a living doing this, you kind of owe your audience an explanation too. You don't necessarily owe us an apology, or I don't consider myself a subscriber to that, brother, but I do believe, as someone who did that, like because you put yourself in a situation just to keep your fan base, first of all, because you put yourself in a situation to where people are going to be turned off now. Because if I'm a female and I've been following you, and I've been listening, and maybe I didn't even left a dude because of some stuff that you called out and da-da-da-da, and now I see you done this. At that point, I'm unsubscribing, dog. I can't. Like it's too much. I had a circumstance like that with someone that I looked up to, and they had a situation, and it was just like But at the same time, we're human, like and that's it. And at the end of the day, like, I feel that person handled themselves and in a good way, and I also feel that they, I think for me, as long as they turn away from those ways, I'm good. Like, again, because I'm not in a position to judge. I don't think the average person. Like, who am I to judge? Like, you don't know what's going on in someone's household. You don't know the other story. So, like, I try not to judge on that level, because there's always two sides to a story and everything. But back to this brother, Derrick Jaxn. So that was the first video. A day later, or a few hours later, he comes on with his wife this time. And she's got this ridiculous bonnet on her head. And he is holding her hand so freaking tight that I'm surprised a vein did not pop or something, because he was just holding her hand for dear life. And I studied psychology in college, and I still don't think I'm an expert on psychology. I'm not going to put myself out there as an expert. But if I were making an educated guess, this girl looked very uncomfortable. She almost looked like she was trapped. It almost had a Get Out kind of feel to it. Almost. For those of you who don't know, the movie Get Out, with the brother who was with the white chick, and the family kind of was. Just Get Out, brother. It was like it was on some Get Out type stuff, and he got on there, and it was basically to clarify. Now, mind you, he said that he was having a non-sexual sexual relationship with this girl. Now he gets out there and says the exact opposite, is that, yes, I was, I stepped out on my marriage. I had sex with multiple women. I reached out to exes. I did this, that. He laid it all out. And basically his wife says something along the lines of, she said that she left right away. But then that she came back when she started seeing changes in his behavior and whatnot, which just seemed like it was staged. If you removed yourself from the house and he was doing all this stuff behind your back, what changes did you see in him? Like, was he, I don't know. I'm not here again. I'm not her. She took him back. That's on you. Let's get back to this narcissistic piece of crap. So he goes on to, basically say, his actions that's not justified, and this, that, and the third. Then he goes on to anybody that knows me knows, if there's one thing I can't stand, is an unaccountable person, right? And he went on to start saying, and to me, unaccountableness starts with, you made a mistake. Keep the light on you, right? So he went and said all this, but then he goes on to talk about other instances where, men of God have stepped out and this and that. He goes so far as to say he was even blaming Jesus. You got to be a narcissistic brother to have to do all these videos you've done for the past several years, to go and do the exact same thing that you're telling the ladies to look out for. You're doing that to your wife. And then you get caught and say, nah, it wasn't sexual, but it was. And then you come out and say, yes, it was. And there were several. But what about this guy over here? And yeah, and, I was trusting Jesus, and I guess Jesus couldn't. Nah, fam, it don't work like that. So that is just that. Like, how can you live with yourself knowing this, and the way you're handling it is just so piss poor. So we got this video. Cool. I saw a video a couple days later, and I would be honest, I did not believe it was real. I thought somebody had transposed some videos, because people are so crafty, and with TikTok and with everything out there, people so crafty with videos now. Like, I'm like, there's no way this video is real, until I actually sat down, watched it, and I'm like, this Negro is really, like, this man made a video basically dissecting the interview he and his wife had done, where she had on the bonnet and he is admitting to having his affairs. He is breaking it down in third person, mind you, in third person. So he's basically breaking this whole situation down as if he's Derrick Jaxn in one of his videos from back in the Gap, and he's analyzing the scenario and making sense of it, right? If this wasn't the most narcissistic and ridiculous thing I've ever, and if you are a subscriber of his, and I actually heard that he gained like 220,000 followers on Instagram after all this. But that anyway, I know people are just being nosy or whatever, want to check the brother out. But anyway, he's breaking down the video as if he's not the guy that's in the video with his wife. And he goes on to basically say that, the one thing I'll say is that brother was accountable, and, he admitted his wrongdoings, and he looked like he was changed. I'm going to take the side of the wife. What? And, nobody's perfect. I mean, it was just, it was literally a parody. It was literally a parody of him that he did on himself, but it was serious. And to me, that speaks to the true mental issues this guy has. And again, study psychology. I'm no psychiatrist. I'm no expert at it. That brother needs to go see somebody seriously, because, again, we don't know why he does what he did. We don't know 100% what's going on with him. And that's for him and his wife to figure out and to walk this thing out. If he's found God and is moving forward, and hey, more power to him. But what I'm looking at is how he's handling it as a man. And it's really disheartening, to just see that. And I say all that to say this, like, we got to be mindful of what voices we listen to, and we got to be mindful of how we put people on pedestals or think that they are above things because of the way they present themselves or the way they portray or whatever they try to do. Because this man wrote a book called A Cheating Man's Heart. And it seems like it's an autobiography and not just something he made up. And I guarantee you, anybody that purchased that book purchased it under the impression that this is a solid dude, right? And, I think, first of all of us are human, right? And like I said earlier, like, if we live long enough, we'll probably all be put in a circumstance where we can be judged or what have you. But again, it just goes back to, just because they're an influencer does not mean they are what they say they are, right? Because at the end of the day, Derrick Jaxn's probably made a lot of money off of this persona that he's created for himself. And, because he has books, he has thousands of subscribers on YouTube. He's got his Instagram is like, so he's making money, right? And he's made money off of this persona that he created for himself. And you've got to feel robbed now because he's not really what he says he is. In fact, he's the exact opposite. And when we think about how many more people are out there faking and pretending to be gurus, because this is the thing. We're in this social media age where everybody can get on their phone and pretend to be whoever they want to be. You can read a couple books and process information and, create a platform for yourself, create some YouTube videos, and just before you know it, hey, you get one video to go viral. you could be a made man. And they end up profiting off of this. And, and to be quite honest, if he wrote this book, A Cheating Man's Heart, if anything, that's what he's an expert at, right? So he did write a book on his expertise. So I guess I can't knock him on that. He did write a book on his expertise. So if you purchase that one, I'm sure the content in that is thorough, because that brother lived those raps to its fullest extent. But that's beside the point. This guy just really made a mockery of everything. He ended up making a mockery of everything, and making a mockery of a situation where you hurt somebody. And it's just unbelievable. And so many other things have happened over the past week, past couple of weeks. So in addition to the Derrick Jaxn thing, we had a week before that, we had Kirk Franklin's son came out, dropped this video of Kirk cussing him out, going in. And so many people were feeling different ways about that whole situation, right? He's a gospel singer, he's a man of God, blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you something. What he did and what Derrick Jaxn did, two different things, right? Kirk Franklin, again, had a moment where he was imperfect because he's human, and he let his son have it. And his son recorded this thing and put it out, because no one would believe that Kirk Franklin would cuss out his own kid, not the guy that made Stomp, not, not the guy that said Smile, right? No, of course not. So he put it out there. No one can upset you or anger you more than someone you love to that extent. From what I understand, they have a very turbulent relationship, which is very evident, right? It's very evident just based on the fact that his son recorded this conversation, and that he had enraged his father to the point where he's, you bitch ass N-word, and you like it's got to take a lot to get you to that point. But again, no one can anger you more than those loved ones. Those closest to you can anger you the most, right? So, when it came out, I was like, I'm definitely not here to judge Kirk. He's not perfect. I mean, he's, but it's levels to it, right? There's this narcissistic, and moreover, before I even go back to the narcissist, Derrick Jaxn, Kirk Franklin let his son have it. And so be it. I don't know that Kirk could have handled, in my opinion, Kirk Franklin did not owe the public an apology for his actions, because that was a conversation that should have been private between him and his son. It was a moment of anger, it was a moment of rage, which humans have because it's a human emotion, right? And to me, that's where it differs from the Derrick Jaxn thing. Is Kirk Franklin is a gospel musician. He doesn't make him, he's not Jesus. He ain't walking on water. He ain't, performing miracles. He's just making really good gospel music for everyone to worship to, and he's using his gift for the kingdom. He had a moment of anger, And it wasn't this, you know, he was accountable for it. Like, I mean, he had no choice but to be accountable for it. But I feel that that's a moment that you don't, the public does not need to know why you did it, what you did. It's just, hey, it is what it is. But I get it, as a public figure. Um, you may believe it's the right thing to do to keep your reputation intact, or to um, try to help diffuse the situation. But it's, to me, it's nothing on the level of the Derrick Jaxn situation. Um, anyway, I Derrick Jaxn is just, he's deplorable. I really hope that, and this is the thing, when you're that narcissistic and you think you have everything figured out, will he seek help? Because when we look at all these situations, even the Kirk Franklin and his son situation, there's some deep rooted problems that need to be resolved. There's some anger, there's some resentment, there's some really heavy feelings involved in between the two. And the same thing with Derrick Jaxn. I think he needs to really do some soul searching. And I think, unfortunately for Derrick Jaxn, I think he has created such a persona and such a facade for himself that I don't know that he will be real enough to get the counseling and the therapy that he truly needs to heal from this, and to become the man that he tries to portray. But I think he's just so far gone as this guru and narcissistic asshole. Like, I don't know that he'll come off of it. It if if his wife is really in it for the long haul, that should be her requirement. Is that he seeks counseling and seeks just some, and like, he's probably going to need it for a very long time. But again, I don't know. To me, therapy and counseling only works if you're going to be real with yourself and real with your shortcomings, and that requires you being accountable. That requires you acknowledging your shortcomings. That's you being transparent about how you feel about situations, how situations have made you feel, how situations have shaped who you are and who you've become. And that's the only way you can do it. That's the only way you can heal. That's the only way she can heal. I think she needs deep counseling. Like, when you look at just her and just her mannerisms, and then she came on, then did a video by herself where she has on like this camouflage and the bonnet, and she's like, "Well, you see a bonnet, I see a helmet of salvation and the garment of praise," and it's just like, okay. So there's some deep rooted issues there. It could be that she's still traumatized from everything that she's gone through with this man, and that he's put her through, and that sucks, because again, these are all the things that he was warning women about. And now you have this woman that I'm sure believed 100% that he was this guy that she saw in the videos. And lo and behold, everything that she saw in these videos and was not, it was false. And everything that he's talking about in these videos, he's actually doing to you. And that had to make her sick to her stomach. But yeah, Derrick Jaxn, unbelievable. I hope he gets help. Oh, he needs it. But anyway, Thanks for checking this episode out. Go back in the archives if you haven't. Check out the Jay Jones episode. We really talk in depth about some entrepreneurial stuff that'll be a game changer for you. Check out the Kendra Hall episode, Dropping Jewels, where she really tells her story that she has. Really powerful, a lot of nuggets for young ladies. I got an episode where I talk about this mass situation that we have going on and from Governor Abbott. I got an episode where I get on our Senator Ted Cruz. So a lot of good content out there in rotation. Check it out. I do have I want you to look out for my Patreon that's going to be coming soon. You'll be able to get the video of the podcast, and some bonus footage and bonus content will be on there. Look out for that really soon. Of course, you can check out the website, jarvissam.com. I got my podcast there. Wherever else you're getting it from, iTunes, Google, Spotify. You can follow me on Instagram, and that's JarvisSam_. And you can also follow the Jarvis Sam Show on Instagram as well. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in again this week. Derrick Jaxn. If you have not seen these videos that I'm talking about, I urge you to look at them on YouTube, because I'm not exaggerating. I'm giving you the real take on them. Go check them out and make, your own opinions. And if you have already seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, thank you so much for listening again, and I will catch y'all next week.